Okay, so we are going to be looking at some of the graphics that could be used as examples for being able to create a standard operating procedure in terms of formatting text on graphics. This is not specific to the actual design of the visuals of what a graphic could look like, but it is rather for us to keep a standard in how we actually format text on our agency or within our agency. We want to make sure that no matter who is doing the work, everyone has a clear understanding of the standard of what we are looking for. And what I've noticed a lot whenever I've been editing other people's designs is that the text sometimes is just a little bit off. And this is a little bit of a dramatic example, which we messed up. This is what the actual final design ended up looking like. It was originally a little bit different than this, but I don't remember the exact way it looked when it was brought to me before I made the edit. So we just sort of went in and made some changes, and then I'll show a couple of other examples. So what I'm going to actually do is just press undo for you to see. So some of what's going on here is like this is actually not the worst, but some of what happens is too many different kinds of texts within the design. So maybe it's got too many different kinds of fonts. Like I'll just add the fonts that just don't go well together, right? Like it could be, all these different types. This is DM Sans, League Spartan, and Comic Sans, and all these different places. We actually use several different ones here, and I don't mind the way that it looks just because of how they are formatted, but you'll see that even though these two designs are a little bit different in how we designed the font, the formatting of them are still crisp and clean, and so we have that going for us. So what ended up being done was going back and selecting the brand font, which is like a handwriting, and then utilizing the spacing elements. And that's one of the main things I want to show. I think people miss the mark on this on Canva a lot, even though Canva is designed like for us to not have this issue. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to just press undo. Obviously, if there's a word hanging off of a line, that's an issue. You can fix that by pulling it out, and that makes it look better. So I'll undo again. First, you'll see that what's happening up here is that this font is bigger than the actual announcement of the network, and so that's an issue. So when we press undo, we can minimize it and bring it to where we actually want it to be. Then what we did was moved the font back to what it's supposed to be, that handwriting. And it looks like it's not going to let me undo because someone else had brought this to me. So I'm just going to go back and fix everything how I see fit, right? So forget about these other elements right here for now. What I just want to show is that whenever you are grabbing something, you can follow the lines on Canva, and it'll show you exactly what's center, and then you drop and release. What I also want to always make sure is that the text in size matches like the elements around it in a way that makes it go more seamlessly. So we have this centered now right below it, and that's fine. We have on these other graphics originally, we see the launching on is actually in the center. So I'm going to move this alignment to be in the center. One other thing that I'll show you around that, because I like to see text sort of like in a box format. I always want to make sure that this line here on the side aligns with the text next to it, and then do the same thing on the other side. These aren't going to be exactly the same as how the actual designs ended up, but you'll see just from designing it that it's at least better than it was. So back to the alignment of things, like right now everything is left centered, and if you do, or left formatted, and if you're writing like a letter, that's how you do it. You would indent and have everything to the left. But in design, a lot of the times, for the majority of the time, you want it centered. And the difference between excuse me, the difference between this center and this center is being able to have it be more like journalistic in its actual like square box. So if I was really scrutinizing over this, I might even actually work on this a little bit more, explore, you know, how thick do I want these elements to be? Maybe I want this one to be a little bit thinner and have it go meeting here, but that means that I need to move everything over. So I select all of these elements and then together move them to the actual center. One note on that: if you have something centered, but you have the actual text box like longer, it's gonna look weird. However, if you do that for like regular centered, it wouldn't do that to you. Another thing is, like, if you do it, for example, like this, where there's a lot of space on either side of the actual text box, it's going to throw off what your mark is. Like, it might show that it's completely centered on the actual lines like this, but then if you actually look at what's happening on this left side, November is closer to the left margin than the right. That's because we have all this space in the text box. So if I move the text box over to be like the exact width of the actual text, and if I put it at the type of centering that I want to, whenever I do that, and then I go in and find the center, the maintenance people are here, sorry, it's a little bit closer. For some reason, it's still a little bit off, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. But just keeping in mindful eye. The point is, if you see something that's centered, but it doesn't look exactly centered, like here, this is perfectly centered, but the right side is hanging off of the actual frame in terms of the actual text box. Like, this is where we're going to put it because it's better here, you know. So that's something just to be mindful of. Follow the lines, but if the lines are telling you something that you can clearly see is wrong just because the size of the actual box in and of itself, then go with what looks best. But a lot of times I just think people don't actually even pay attention to it. So that's something to notice. Okay, moving to this next one. So I'll do a couple of things. So for one, it's hanging out of the box. So that's an issue, right? Like, the text itself is not within its frame. So we're going to center it right there. Personally, I think that this goes, it depends on the person, but I'm not in love when a line of text like starts, like, give me clarity of thought in the idea, right? So a goddess from head to toe, mind and soul, right? And if that messes up this text, what I'm going to do is ungroup them. If they're grouped, are they grouped? Maybe I'll actually just copy. Yeah, they are grouped. Okay. Paste, and then stretch it out. And then I don't even know what I want from this, like, in terms of design, because do I want, no, I like the capitals. The thing is that the capitals are like kind of random, but it's not random because it's like title type of capitals. Like, you would start an article with these kinds of capital formatting, so I'm just gonna leave it. But I might change the comma. This is just me being, you know, picky, but I think it's important to be picky. Okay, I like that better. We're just gonna leave. Do I like that better? I don't know. I would like to have a colon, I think, instead of a comma, but I don't like the way the colon right next to it looks. So if I put a space in the colon, I think that's fine, but then that kind of looks weird. So I guess I'll just leave the comma. The point is, the main thing was that it was hanging off of the frame, and that's like a new. And it might require you to ungroup things, and then that's fine, because these pre-made texts, sometimes they're really, really cute, but they don't necessarily work exactly for what you want for your design. So you need to just like make the edit, you know. Another thing is that this is hard to read. So one of my favorite things to do for that is just adding light behind something or a shadow behind something, depending if you're doing it in a way that is the inverse of color. So I center it here, And then I want to make sure that my elements are positioned properly. So I go to the layers and I'm going to put it behind the box. That's a very, very subtle difference that hardly made a difference at all, but I can read it better. So I'm going to leave it at that. Do I like this the way it is? I think so. I do think that I want to actually edit this photo for a second though, which is technically not part of this tutorial, but the background here and this right here, like this is such a neutral, cooler green tinted gray, and this is more of a bright, warmer pink. So I kind of want to bring that aesthetic together, or I want to make them even more contrasted. It's like the design didn't decide like which direction I wanted to go with that. So I'm like going to make it a little bit more obvious and a little bit more subtle and decide which direction I want to go with it. I think I like lower shadows, more white. I think I like a little bit of a softer, dreamy kind of look. More vibrant, a little bit more saturated, and that pulls out some of the pinks. So then we have more of that going on. Sharpness, I'm going to lower the clarity and it gives it that like dreamy effect. But I want to add the sharpness so that I can still see the wisps of the feathers. I do think I might change the saturation a little bit. Or maybe I'll keep the saturation but lower the vibrance. Okay, that's better to me. And I think we're going to leave it at that. All right, next. Okay. These are already made and exported. So I'm going to use a different technique just to grab the text. But these are the kinds of things, it's like the concept is there, but even just the formatting is off. Like for this, with love, Alexis Smith, founder, Solista Wear, I would have done like a cursive for her name where it looked like she was signing it, and then doing like a smaller thing for the title, you know. So let's see if I'm going to be able to just do a magic edit with the text. What the heck sound was that? Okay, so I grabbed the text. This cursive is Pinion Script, so I want to use the same. I don't know that these are actually her brand texts, but if they were, we would want to make sure that there was brand consistency. So we're going to do this with love. And like if she's signing an actual letter, it would be like with love, comma, Alexis Smith. And then I'm going to just make these smaller so it looks like her title, right? Like something, it's very subtle, but these are the kinds of things that like make a difference with a design and make it look more professional. This is another example. So let's grab the text. So we'll just go with this text and this font type and say that it's the one we're going to run with. So here's a perfect example. Like we want to pull this out so that we can have the story tell itself line by line. On Valentine's Day 2022, next line. Solista Wear was born, next line. And then I would add like a space. And then I might even want to center all of this. Our mission. Look good, feel good, do good. There you go. I actually really love that. It's so simple. How sweet is that? Look good, feel good, do good. Okay. So Just one thing that could be done here would be like adding the script or some other kind of text or adding something to separate the two. So like maybe italicizing it, and you could write like italicize for, you know, the name of the brand. It just adds like a little bit of a difference. Let's see. We want to do another shadow. So what I would actually probably do here is instead of a highlight underneath behind, I would probably just honestly brighten it up and make it white.
I don't want my meal.
You don't want your oatmeal?
No, what?
But it's so yummy.
I'm saving it.
You're saving it? Okay, so when you're hungry again, you can eat it.
Let's see.
I'm done with my meal. I'm done with my meal.
Oops, I did magic grab, not magic text. You gonna draw a pretty picture for my refrigerator today?
No response? Okay.
It's okay, she doesn't have to. I wanted every woman to experience that feeling. Oops. What? Would it go up if I pulled it out, or is it just being... Okay. You can't italicize this font? Okay. Why? Is it different? Okay, it is, so don't know how that happened. Okay, that's play fair display, that's play fair display. Now this is play fair display.
Why are you trying to use it? Let's go wash your hands.
I'm hungry.
Let's go wash your hands.
No. I don't want to wash my hands.
Oops. I always like look in between for things like this, like a carousel. I always like look in between them to see how they look with each other as well. So let's see. I started designing beautiful curve accentuating pieces. Is this the last one? Okay, hold on. There's a couple more.
Get me food.
Hey, that's not how you ask kindly for something. You want something yummy to eat?
I have oatmeal over there. I can't.
I don't want it.
Do you want an apple?
I don't want apple.
You want an orange? Yeah, you can have 2 oranges. You're welcome, love. Okay, I like that. And last actual one. Okay, why are these words not going? Okay. Oh my goodness. Sounds.
Mom, does it want the charger?
Did you bring the charger?
Yes, I did. It's in the bag.
I think I like it as it is. Okay. All right, so that pretty much shows the difference. Like, it's subtle, but I think it's actually huge. It looks a lot more professional this way. It looks a lot more. Well, you tell me what you think.
Well, I think it's easier to read, especially with the bolding and the italicizing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it makes it a little bit more flirty looking. It's more feminine looking instead of just one straight text.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the spacing that you have now. It's just more. It flows better. It's just easier to read, especially in a carousel where it's easy to just skip past
To
it.
swipe and you could just overlook it, right? Okay, perfect. I might even add some bold here,
I was just gonna say.
but this
that
type of font doesn't let it happen.
Well, we need to know her brand fonts, anyways.
Yeah, so these are probably not going to even be, these are up for the proposal, so we don't have a brand kit to be working off of. But I do think we should actually submit the carousel. I think it varies the type of content that we're actually presenting to her, because it's not just a static graphic. So, and I think, we can have it tell an actual story that she would want to actually tell, and maybe she doesn't want, this exact wording, but it gives the idea of it. I do like the picture that she chose, and I like the placement of it. Although this one is, I'm just noticing it has like a white line. Did you see that?
Just because I didn't space it out all the way.
Was it you who made it, or was it Brio?
It was Brielle that made it, but I just put it in Canva.
Oh, okay, that's probably why. Yeah, but things like that, I have done that all the time, especially if you can't always tell that it's got that it's a little off center or something like that, and then you export it and it's like, wait, why is there a white border around it?
Right.
So it's just something to also be mindful of.
In the top image
Yeah.
where it has the handle at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
should we put some underlay something?
I put something white underneath it, so I did do that, but it's still a little bit not super obvious. It was also hanging off the edge, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I just wish that text could be bolded.
What you can do is go to effects and then play with how you want it to actually look. So, like, I can do a lift, which helps some. The shadow is like got an offset, but I could change the offset to be less of an offset and change the direction of it a little bit too, so it's a little bit clearer. Well, what you're actually doing is like you see the gap between it. You're moving where the gap is. So I personally like it like this, where it's like actually attached and it just is like very, very subtle. You see that? It's like hardly even there, but you can read it way clearer because of that.
Yeah.
I don't like it when it's like totally separated and hanging off. Should we do that for the actual text here too, or should we just leave it as it is?
Probably just to make it more, just more bold.
I like lift as well. I think it's the easiest like go-to. It adds like a glow. I think it's I also like neon, but you have to choose the colors wisely.
Yeah, for sure.
And dark colors like don't go well with it. And if you have something light in the background, it like just doesn't really work. Unless it's like the aesthetic, but this is not that aesthetic. I also love glitch, but it's like not that's not this aesthetic either.
No,
but I just love it.
client.
Like I love it for other people. But I wish you could choose the colors. Like you can only No, you can only alternate between the two.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
That's like the only thing that's like that.
It
All
is.
the other ones are very customizable.
Okay, which do you like better of these two? The glow or the lift or the shadow?
The shadow.
Okay.
The lift with this font makes it kind of hard to read, especially since it's so small.
Yeah, because it's very airy-fairy that way. Okay, I think that helps.
Yeah,
that adds.
better.
Okay. Good. What about this word behind? Is it fine?
I think so.
What
It's
is
just
happening?
in a good place on the red.
Okay, I think we're good.
The box with the Celeste wear, is that her logo?
I was just about to bring it up to you. It's not very high resolution.
Okay.
I think it's her logo, but I'm just looking at it and it's kind of not.
Just, like, grab it. Can you grab it and do the solution
Solution screen.
Resolution.
The resolution.
The app.
Magic grab. No, it's trying to grab the entire element of her body.
Really?
Yeah.
Can just click on it?
I did, but it thinks that it's all attached. Maybe if I zoom in, but that's what it was doing.
Brush it.
But it's a square. Will it pick up on that?
Yeah.
Or it's a rectangle. Excuse me.
Yeah, good.
Okay, how do I change the resolution?
Go to apps. Down. You scroll down from where you're at.
Come drive. I'm making us coffee.
Thank you. So you go to apps. You scroll down. Image upscaler. You want to go to the highest resolution possible. Sometimes if you go to 16, it'll make it look, depending on what you're trying to upscale, it can make it look a little cartoonish, like AI generated almost. But for this, since it's just text, we want to go to the highest possible. 16 is not possible now, so we're just going to do 8. We let it do its thing. Okay, so now it's going to show us the difference between the before and the after when it wants to load. Let's just click replace, and if it's not what we need, then we'll try something else. Okay, so that's so much better. The only thing is there's these little white glares right here, and I don't think that those are intentional. They don't look intentional. So what else I'm going to do is I'm going to click the image. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to grab text. Yeah, I'm going to select all, grab. And hopefully it has the same font. If it doesn't, it's going to convert it to the closest match that Canva has. And when we get her actual brand kit, then we'll be able to put in her actual elements, and that's extremely important to not change those things. Okay, so now that I've done this, it's fixed the glare. Now we just make it larger and make sure that it's centered. Okay, so now it is so much better. Beautiful. Another thing that I'm noticing is that this box back here is white and this is not. So it depends, because this is her logo. If she wants to keep it white, we can, but I also think the contrast is nice. I'm gonna go through and copy both of them. I'm gonna group them first to make it one singular image, and then I'm gonna copy it. And then I have to go into all these other images and do the same thing that we did before to even get this. And this is only because this is a design that was downloaded and uploaded into Canva, so I don't have the original file. If I had the original editable file, then I would be able to.
But this is good to teach the tutorial of these tools, because I honestly never really used them until you showed me them, and now I'm like, I can do anything.
It's
I can
literally
take anything
magic.
from the internet.
Yeah, it's literally magic.
Like, I would literally, before I try to even find a similar font for anything, I'll just like be like, oh, I'm just gonna take that advertisement and literally grab text.
Like as you should. That's what it's there for.
The magic expand element is
Oh
like
my gosh.
funky and it's weird. And
Yeah.
you can just type it and be like, make it look like an icicle, and then it just does.
Yeah.
Like,
They have a magic create as well. You literally just tell it what you need.
I've tried that before,
do it.
and it is very. It's still in the. I'm interested to see where it will be in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's still in the beta.
Because the fact that that even exists is insane, first and foremost. Also, like, did you know that the founder of Canva was turned down by venture capital 100 times?
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? And she kept going. And now she runs one of the most lucrative tech companies in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the girlies are in their bag!
Okay, and this is like the most tedious process ever, only because we don't have the file, the original editable file. But you can see how it's just very simple, yeah, but tedious. But it's very, very, very important. And see, this one doesn't even have it. So we need to, oops, Control-Z. Let me get this back. Okay.
Thank you guys for sticking with us this long. We're almost done.
Alright, now they're all there. Something I noticed is that this is white, this is white, this is not white. This is still white.
I wonder if that's because of how we uploaded it, or do you think it's because of the editing?
It could be a little bit of both. These probably, since it looks like you just changed the color of this
I
box.
didn't change it, and you can't, it looks like you can't grab it.
Well, I can.
Oops.
We're gonna have to like. I like
Change
the
each
color. I like it.
I think it matches the background well.
It
so
does.
we should make them just consistent is the biggest thing.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back and just leave it the same. This one I'm gonna grab because if you zoom in, you can see there's like some light flares.
Yeah,
So
she
you
might have
have to grab
screenshotted it
text.
from the site with the snow effect on it.
It's possible, but as soon as you grab the text, it fixes it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's better. And it just fixes the resolution too. And making it bigger is better too. Bigger is better.
It is.
All
All the time.
Next topic.
Where's the center? Oh, see, it's not going to tell me the center because we have to grab the box. Okay. Edit magic.
Right, because that's technically part of the actual background and it doesn't know.
Did you do it? No.
Did you do it? Did you do?
No, do not. Okay.
Did you do?
Let's try it again. And when you do this, it brings it to the front. So it looks like the text is gone, but really now it's just behind. So just
right.
know that.
So you just go to position and then select layers.
Or you could really just like.
Girl.
This though can be deleted.
Yeah, because we don't need it, and that's just confusing for anyone who comes in to make other edits.
Okay, so now we want to change the color of this. They've changed this so that you cannot.
Go to edit. No, because it's not technically a graphic element of Canva, you can't just go and change the color. So what you could do is I will go to duotone and then I'll just select one that's close to what I'm looking for.
You want to go to custom and then you change the highlights. Usually the little dropper thing is there. Just so that we could grab this.
Yeah, I wonder why.
That's really weird.
Whoa, sorry. Social media.
So I guess I'm just going to drag it to make it like the closest that I could possibly get.
If you change the color saturation at the bottom and drag it, no, where you were, sorry. Yeah, change that. It'll add some warmth to it.
Yes.
I want more food.
Ooh. Okay. And then move the actual color a little bit warmer to the right and down, so it's got the darker tint. And that. Whoa, girl!
Excuse you.
And that's on color theory. Do you want a snacky?
Let's go.
Okay, so now it's all. We just need to center that. I think this behind can be moved down a little bit and then aligned with the box. That's better. Okay, that's so much better. Now, this is like the most difficult process because this is really what the process would be like if we were grabbing something off the internet and going to edit it to become a brand element. But because this is an actual brand's graphic, but I just got it from a folder that I downloaded, and I don't have the editable, thing, the editable actual graphic. This is just the longer route because it would be a little bit different and very more easy to change all these elements and things like that if we had the editable. And maybe we'll do that. Like, I guess she did do that already with the Art Heals Earth graphic. That was the editable version. All right, this looks really good. Yay. I think we're done.
Yay! Thank you.